Welcome to Wisdom Education Services. We are going to discuss this pie chart as a part of the Writing Task 1 of the IELTS academic module. Now this is a simple pie chart. As you can see, pie charts are circular in shape and they have different sections like the sections of a pizza. So let's have a look at the description. The pie chart depicts the different costs involved in making a book of price $250. Describe the information in not less than 150 words. So remember, your time is 20 minutes and your minimum word limit is 150 words. There is no maximum word limit, so you can stretch as much as you want to. Let's go ahead and start with the introduction. Now remember, the introduction should always give information on the kind of figure that you are describing. So your introduction will be like: the pie chart in the figure describes information of the different costs that are involved in making up the final cost of a book. So the pie chart in the figure describes information of the different costs that are involved in making up the final cost of a book. The cost of the book is given to be $250. The different costs into which this final cost is segregated are, so what are those costs? Paper, printing, binding, royalty, keep checking the spelling side by side, royalty, promotions, and transportation. So I hope I've covered all the information here. The cost of the book is given to be $250. The different costs into which this final cost is segregated are paper, binding, printing, royalty, promotions, and transportation. So this is our introduction, and this roughly makes up to be around 40 to 50 words. So we just have to write another 90 to 100 words to fulfill the minimum price limit. Sorry, the minimum word limit. So let's go on and get started with the second paragraph, which will give information on the different costs that are involved. Let's go ahead and start with the cost that contributes maximum, that is paper. Paper contributes, now 25%. You can also write 25% just like that, 25% of the total cost. Or you could divide it and present it in terms of numbers. So paper is 25%, contributes 25% of the total final cost. Its value comes out to be, it involves a bit of calculations, and this should be a full stop. Its value comes out to be, now 25% of $250 is $62.5. Binding and printing both cost now 20%. That means 20% would be around $50. $50 separately, and the respective cost and the respective costs are, the respective contributions are 20% each. So paper contributes 25% of the total final cost. Its value comes out to be $62.5. Binding and printing both cost $50 separately, and the respective contributions are 20% each. So we've given information on three big headings: binding, printing, and paper. Now we're left with royalty, promotion, and transportation, which we'll mention right now. royalty constitutes 15% of the total cost, which is $37.5. 10% of the cost comes from transportation, which is, now 10% of 250 would be $25, and the remaining 10% of the final cost comes from promotion. This too accounts for $25. So this is the entire information. Royalty constitutes 15% of the total cost, which is $37.5. 10% of the cost comes from transportation, which is $25. The remaining 10% of the final cost comes from promotion. This too accounts for $25. So we've given information cost-wise and percentage-wise as well for each of the different costs that make up the final cost of $250. Now we just left with the conclusion. Now I'm sure we would have done around 110 to 120 words by now. We are just left with the conclusion. So at the end, it can be concluded that paper, binding, and printing are the main areas that influence the final cost of the book. This is because their share in the final cost is maximum and comes out to be total of, now 20 plus 20 plus 25. It makes it around 65%. So that is a major share, 65%. On the other hand, royalty, transportation, and promotion do not cost much separately, but when combined, they account for 45% of the total cost. So just some editing to do. And here we have done our conclusion as well. So you can check, this would be more than 150 words. We've given all the information. The introduction contains the kind of chart and the information that we are about to explain in the next paragraph. The next paragraph contains all the information, the percentages, the different kinds of costs involved, and the values as well. The third paragraph and the final one is our conclusion, and it gives us an account of what different headings contribute towards the maximum cost, that is paper, binding, and printing. And it also gives information that royalty, transportation, and promotion, they don't cost much separately, but when combined, they do account for around 45% of the total cost. Well, that would not be 45, it would be 35 for calculation mistake. So you need to check your calculations as well. And remember, at the end of the writing task 1 and writing task 2, you must always keep a few minutes just for revision. Because no matter how accurate you think that your grammar, spellings, and vocabulary would be, there would be some mistakes which you may have ignored earlier, so it's better to just go ahead and have a quick glance to bring out any kind of mistakes. So you should check for spelling mistakes, for punctuation mistakes, for your grammar mistakes like tenses or subject-verb agreement. And also one really common mistake is capital letters. Most students just start writing capital letters in the beginning or in the middle of the sentences. However, just the first alphabet of every sentence should be a capital and other proper nouns. So this is all for this particular video. but there are more videos where you can learn how to write information on a bar chart, a bar diagram, a line graph, or a table, or even in some cases a process or flow chart. So this is all for now. Thank you.